Tom worked as a maintenance technician on Station Allura, a quiet space outpost orbiting a blue gas giant. It wasn't a very exciting job. Most of his days were spent checking pipes, fixing broken wires, or adjusting the station's old ventilation systems. Tom didn't mind it, though. He liked calm places. Out here, far from Earth, life moved slowly. After finishing his late shift, Tom yawned and wiped his hands on a cloth. The station lights had already dimmed, switching to night mode. A soft hum came from the floor panels as he walked through the long metal corridors. He passed a row of sealed doors, glanced at the clock screen on the wall, and turned a corner. Then, he stopped. Someone was standing in the middle of the hallway. A young woman. She didn't wear a technician uniform. Her suit was light silver and tight-fitting, glowing faintly under the low ceiling lights. Her hair was dark and shiny, falling over her shoulders. Her skin was smooth, almost too perfect. But the thing that caught Tom's attention the most were her eyes, large, deep, and full of emotion. Didn't blink, they just watched him. Tom stared at her for a few seconds. She didn't speak. She didn't move. She just stood there, silent, right in the middle of his path. Hello? Tom said, clearing his throat. Are you lost? No reply. He stepped forward slowly, still unsure if she was real. Maybe she was a visitor? A new transfer crew member? But he had never seen her before, and something about her felt strange. I need to get past, Tom said kindly. Do you need help? She didn't answer, instead as he tried to walk. Around her, she stepped sideways, blocking his path again. Not angrily, not fast, just quietly, like she was making sure he didn't go further. Tom frowned. Okay, weird. He took a step back. She followed with one step forward. Tom looked. Around, no cameras nearby, no one else in sight. Only him and the silent girl. Then she did something that made him freeze, without saying a word. She lifted one hand slowly and placed it over her heart. Her head tilted to the side gently, as if she was studying him. The moment felt heavy, like something important was happening, but Tom didn't know what. What? What is this? Whispered. The girl held the pose, eyes locked with his. Then she pointed at his chest, right where his heart was. Tom felt a chill run through him. It wasn't fear, it was confusion, mixed with a strange emotion he couldn't explain. Her eyes weren't cold, they looked deeply sad. And then, just like that, she turned and walked away down a side corridor. Tom stood there, heart racing. He didn't know whether to follow her or call someone. And finally, he hurried toward the security office nearby, the guard on duty. An older man named Ross blinked at him. A girl? Ross repeated. In silver? Blocking your way? Yes, Tom said quickly. I didn't imagine it. She looked different. Her suit wasn't like ours. Ross sighed and tapped his screen. Let's check the hallway cameras. They rewound the footage. Tom pointed at the exact time and place. The screen showed Tom turning the corner, walking, stopping, looking around. But there was no one else there. The hallway was empty. Tom's mouth went dry. That's impossible. She was right in front of me. Ross raised an eyebrow. Long shift, Tom? I'm not tired, Tom said, now more confused than ever. I know what I saw, Ross smiled kindly. Go get some rest. I'll keep an eye out. Tom left the office in silence. He didn't go straight to his room. Instead, he walked back to that same hallway. It was quiet again, empty, but something had changed. A small, glowing symbol had appeared on his room door, one he had never seen before. It was circular, with a single line crossing through it. Soft blue light pulsed from it. Tom touched it. Gently, the moment his fingers met the glow, everything changed. For 1 second, Tom wasn't in the hallway anymore. He saw stars swirling in the sky, planets orbiting distant suns, and a massive city made of light. He saw the same girl standing. At the center of the glowing city, arms outstretched, eyes full of hope. Then the image changed. Darkness spread over the city. Shadows fell. The stars dimmed. The girl stood alone now, her eyes full of sadness. She raised her hand toward Tom, her fingers just inches from his face. Then it all vanished. Tom fell backward against the wall, breathing hard. What is going on? He looked around. The hallway was normal again. Symbol on his door had faded. Tom stood there, shaken, trying to make sense of it all. She wasn't just blocking his way. She was trying to show him something, something old, something important. And now he was part of it. Tom didn't sleep well that night. His dreams were full of stars, strange lights, and the girl's face. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw her standing there in silence, reaching out to him. When he finally woke up, it felt like he had only been asleep for a few minutes. He sat on the edge of his small bed, rubbing his eyes. The hallway, the glowing symbol, the strange vision, it had all been too real to be just a dream. Something had happened. Something strange. Tom dressed quickly and decided to visit someone he trusted. Mia, a communication tech who worked with alien signals and old languages. She had helped him before when he found a broken translator chip in the engine room. Was smart and open-minded. Mia was in her small lab, surrounded by screens and tools. She looked up and smiled as Tom entered. "Morning, Tom. You look like you've seen a ghost." "Maybe I have," Tom said. "Can I talk to you about something weird?" Mia leaned back in her chair. "Weird is my favorite." "Go ahead." Tom told her everything about the girl in the hallway, strange suit, her silent gesture, the glowing symbol on his door, and the vision he saw after touching it. Mia listened carefully, without interrupting. When he finished, she nodded slowly. "You're serious," she said. "I know how it sounds," Tom replied, "but I'm not making this up." "Can you draw the symbol?" she asked. Tom grabbed a pad and sketched the glowing shaped circle with a single line through it. Mia stared at it. "I've seen something like this before." Tom leaned in. "Where?" She turned to her screen and brought up a file labeled Old Beacon Fragments. It showed pieces of an ancient machine found floating near an asteroid years ago. On one of the pieces was a carved symbol very close to what Tom had drawn. "This tech was recovered from deep space," Mia explained. "No one knows who made it. The symbol showed up again in a few other ruins, but we never cracked the meaning." Tom's eyes widened. "So it's real? I didn't imagine it." "I think the girl is connected to this," Mia said. "Maybe she's not completely here, like a message from the past. A warning." "A warning about what?" Tom asked. "I don't know," Mia admitted, "but we should check something." "Where exactly did you see her the first time?" Tom showed her the hallway location on the map. "That corridor runs above a power line that hasn't been used in years. She said it leads to the lower maintenance decks. Hardly anyone goes there anymore." "What if something is hidden down there?" Tom asked. "Something she wants us to see?" Mia looked at him for a moment. "Let's find out." Later that day, Tom and Mia made their way down to the lower decks. The lights were dim, and the air felt colder. Floated in the air, untouched, by people for a long time. They passed locked doors, old tools, and storage rooms filled with unused equipment. Tom stopped near a wall panel where the power readings showed a weak energy signal barely noticeable. "There," he said. "Behind that wall, something's still active." Mia scanned it. "There's an old access panel here. We can open it." Using basic tools, they removed the panel and stepped inside a small, narrow chamber. At the end of the space stood a metal pedestal. On it sat a cube-shaped object glowing faintly with the same blue light as the symbol from Tom's door. Tom reached out carefully and touched it. The cube came to life. A soft hum filled the room. The top of the cube opened like flower petals, and a holographic image rose above it. It was her, the same girl. She stood tall and still, eyes closed at first. Then she opened them and looked straight at Tom and Mia. Her lips moved, speaking in a soft language they couldn't understand, but her voice was full of emotion, sadness, maybe even fear. The image shifted, showing flashes of a great city made of light. Tall towers, flying ships, and people walking in peace. Then the sky turned dark. The towers crumbled. The people ran. The last image was of the girl, standing alone, her hand over her heart, Then everything went dark again. Tom and Mia stood in silence. "She's showing us her memories," Mia whispered. "That city, her people, something destroyed them." Tom looked at the cube. "She wants someone to know. That's why she showed herself to me." Mia nodded. "Maybe she wants us to stop it from happening again." Back in her lab, Mia worked on translating parts of the recorded language from the cube. "It's hard," she said. "The symbols don't match anything in our database, but the pattern repeats. That usually means it's a name, maybe the name of her people." Tom watched as the same symbol, the circle with the line, appeared again. He couldn't stop thinking about the girl. She didn't speak with words, but her eyes and gestures said more than any language. She wasn't a threat. She was a messenger, a silent one. "What should we do next?" Tom asked. Mia looked at him. "We need to go deeper. There may be more of these cubes hidden in the station. If we can find them, we might learn the full message." Tom nodded. "Let's find them." But deep inside, he wondered, why him? Why had she chosen him to see her? And how much time did they have before the rest of the message revealed itself? Tom couldn't stop thinking about the hologram of the girl. The way she looked at him, the sadness in her eyes, and the vision of her world so beautiful and peaceful now. Gone. He didn't know who she was or what had happened to her people, but he felt a deep need to help. The cube had shown him a part of the past. A warning, maybe, but there had to be more. More messages, more answers. Mia had the same thought. She worked all night scanning the cube's signals and checking the power lines of the space station. Early the next morning, she called Tom too. "Her lab, I found something," she said with excitement in her voice. "There's another weak energy reading coming from the East Wing, near Storage Bay 9. It looks just like the one we saw in the lower chamber." Tom leaned over her shoulder. "Do you think it's another cube?" "I think so," Mia replied. "But it's behind a locked door, one of the old storage vaults. Nobody uses it anymore." Tom smiled.
Oh.
"Then let's go open it." They reached Storage Bay 9 an hour later.
Oh.
The door was covered in dust, and the control panel was dead. Mia connected a small device to the side and ran a bypass. After a few seconds, the lock clicked open. The door slid to the side with a low hiss. Inside was a dark room filled with old crates and broken equipment. But near the back, under a metal sheet, they found something strange, a pedestal, just like the first one, and on it sat another cube. Softly glowing with blue light, Tom stepped closer, heart pounding, touched the cube. Once again, it opened. Like before, and the same girl appeared in a hologram. This time she was sitting in a garden, surrounded by flowers that floated in the air. She smiled. There were others with her people who looked similar to her. They were laughing, happy. Then the vision shifted. A huge shadow passed over the garden. The sky turned red. Sirens began to wail. The girl looked up, afraid. She turned and ran toward a tall building made of crystal. Before she reached it, the vision ended. Tom let out a slow breath. "She's showing us what happened, piece by piece." Mia nodded. "It looks like her world was attacked. Something powerful." Tom looked down at the cube. "I leave these memories here, on this station?" Mia thought for a moment. Maybe. This station was built over something older, something ancient. Or maybe her people knew someone would come here one day. Maybe it was planned. Later that day, Tom and Mia took the two cubes back to the lab. They ran tests on the signals. Strangely, both cubes gave off a matching pulse, like they were calling to each other. Tom placed the cubes side by side, and for a brief moment, a new symbol appeared in the air between them, a star with 3 lines crossing through it. Mia took a picture and began checking old records. After an hour of searching, she found something. This star symbol. It's been seen before. On a broken satellite found over 50 years ago, nobody knew what it meant. It wasn't from any known species. Tom's eyes widened, and now it's here, connected to her. Mia nodded. "We're dealing with something big, Tom. Her people weren't just travelers. They were builders. Keepers of knowledge. They were trying to warn others." Tom leaned forward. "Then we have to find more cubes." The next few days were busy. Tom and Mia searched hidden areas of the station, old storage rooms, sealed tunnels, forgotten maintenance shafts. They found 2 more cubes, each showing more visions. In one, the girl was in a giant room filled with floating lights and machines. She touched a device, and a map of stars filled the air. She pointed at one star, their current location, and another. Vision. She stood alone before a group of tall figures. They seemed to be leaders, judging by their clothing. They argued with her. She tried to explain something, but they turned away. She looked heartbroken. She tried to warn them, Mia said softly. But they didn't listen. Tom stared. At the hologram, she was the last one still trying. That evening, Tom returned to his room. He was tired, but he couldn't rest. As he sat on his bed, he noticed something strange. The glowing symbol had returned to his door. But this time it wasn't blue. It was gold. He touched it gently. The room around him faded again. This time, he stood in a great hall. The girl was there, waiting. She walked up to him and placed her hand over her heart, just like before, but now. She opened her hand, and inside was a small, star-shaped charm. She placed it in Tom's hand and nodded. Then she looked toward the sky, above them in her vision. A giant black shape moved across the stars. It looked like a shadow, a huge one, dark and endless. It swallowed everything in its path. The girl turned back to Tom. Her lips moved. But no sound came. Still, Tom understood. It's coming. The vision ended. Tom was back in his room, breath short, heart pounding. The star-shaped charm was not in his hand. It had only been in the vision. But he felt its weight like it was still there. He knew what she meant. Something terrible had once destroyed her people, and now it was coming again. Tom met Mia early the next morning. He hadn't slept much. It's the girl's latest vision, the dark shape in the stars. The warning kept playing in his mind. Mia noticed his tired eyes. Did something happen again? Tom nodded slowly. Another vision. This time she gave me something. A star-shaped charm. It wasn't real, but I felt it like it was in my hand. Then I saw something. Shadow in space. Big. It was moving across the stars, and she said just 2 words, "It's coming." Mia looked serious. Then, "We don't have much time." She opened a new map on her screen. "I found something else last night. When I connected the cubes together, they sent a signal not just to each other, but to the deepest part of the station. I traced the signal line. It leads to a sealed section below the power core. That area has been locked for over 30 years. Tom leaned in. "What's down there?" "No one knows," she said. "Some say it was a construction tunnel that was never finished. Others think it was part of an old research lab that was closed after the station's early days." "Do we have access?" Mia smiled and held up a small keycard. "Officially. But I made this from old codes I found in the maintenance logs. It should work." The hidden area was hard to reach. They had to crawl through a narrow service tunnel and drop down into a cold, dark corridor. The lights flickered as they walked slowly, flashlights guiding the way. Dust covered the floor. The air felt heavy, like no one had breathed it in years. They reached a thick metal door. The symbol Tom had seen in his visions, the circle with the single line, was carved above it. "This is it," Mia said quietly. She swiped the card. The door opened with a loud click and slid open slowly. Inside was a large chamber filled with strange machines, walls covered in alien writing, and glowing panels that still worked after all this time. Tom stepped in carefully. "This isn't part of the original station." Mia nodded. It's older. Much older." In the center of the room stood a raised platform. On it sat a tall, cone-shaped device, and at its base was another cube brighter than the others. Tom walked toward it and placed his hand gently on top. The cube responded instantly. The room lit up with a full holographic display. The girl appeared again, but this time she wasn't alone. Other figures stood behind her, men and women of her kind. All of them had solemn faces. The girl stepped forward. She began to speak, her voice clear this time, thanks to the full connection. "Between all the cubes, my name was Alari. My people once watched the stars. We lived in peace, learning, building, sharing knowledge. But one day something came. Not a person, not a ship. Force. A presence that moved across space like a cold wind. It had no face, no name. It destroyed without reason. We tried to stop it. We failed. The images changed, huge cities falling, bright towers crumbling, ships fleeing, and then silence. Ilari continued, before our world was lost, we sent pieces of ourselves into the stars. Messages. Memories. We hoped someone would find them. Someone who could stop the darkness. The image zoomed out, showing the cube network, more cubes, scattered across different planets and space stations. We chose your station to hold our warning, Ilari said, because it sits upon one of our oldest relay cores. If reactivated, it will send a signal to the others to warn them, to wake them. Mia gasped. Like a galactic alarm system. Larry's image looked directly at Tom. You found us. You listened. Must complete the link. The core is beneath this chamber. Fix it, and we will help you prepare. The hologram faded. Tom and Mia stood in silence. The truth was now clear. Their station had been built on top of an ancient alien system, one designed to warn others about a great danger, a system that had slept for thousands of years. Until now, we have to activate the core, Tom said. Mia checked the control panel. It's still alive, but it's weak. We'll need tools. Power cells. Help, Tom thought for a moment. I know a few engineers who might believe us. Quiet, honest people. We'll bring them here. By the end of the day, Tom had spoken. 2-3 friends from the repair crew, Lena, Hari, and Marco. He showed them the holograms, the cubes, and the chamber. To his relief, they believed him. The evidence was too strong. For the next 2 days, the small team worked together. They replaced old wires, restarted old circuits, and linked the alien systems to the station's main power grid. It was difficult, but the machines seemed to respond to them almost like they were waiting. Finally, the core platform hummed loudly. Lights blinked in a circle. The central crystal glowed. It's ready, Mia whispered. Tom stepped forward. Do it. Mia pressed the main switch. Room shook gently. A bright light filled the chamber. The core began to spin slowly, and a blue beam shot upward through the ceiling. Outside the station, a silent burst of light spread into space like a ripple through water, deep in the galaxy. In places no human had ever reached, other cubes began to glow. LRE appeared one final time. Her image was brighter now, her face calm. You have awakened the system. The message is moving again. We thank you. The stars are watching. Be ready. Then she faded peacefully. Tom sat on the edge of the platform. He looked at Mia and the others. We did it, he said. But inside, he knew it was just the beginning. Something was coming. But now, they were no longer blind. They had seen the warning, and they had answered. Since activating the ancient core, Tom noticed a change in the space station. The lights seemed brighter. The old hum in the walls now had a deeper, slower rhythm. Of the older systems that were once broken suddenly started working again without being repaired. Tom wasn't the only one who felt it. Mia and the other engineers sensed it too. The whole station felt more alive, as if it had woken up from a long sleep. Do you think the alien technology is affecting the station? Mia asked, as she walked with Tom toward the lab. I think it's helping, Tom said. Maybe the girls' people left more behind than we thought. In the lab, the 5 glowing cubes now sat together in a row. Mia had connected them to a shared panel, where data streamed across the screen in blue and white lines. Each cube still held a part of the girl's memories. Ilari's memories. Mia pointed to the newest signal. This one came through an hour ago, she said. It's different. Not just a message. It's a map. Tom leaned over the screen. A map of what? It shows where the other relay cores are, Mia explained. Across different planets, moons, and even inside large asteroids. Ilari's people left them all over the galaxy. They hoped someone would connect the pieces. Tom looked closely. One of the blinking points was located just 2 jumps from their station. A nearby moon, orbiting a dying star. Do you think someone else has already activated that one? He asked. Maybe, Mia said. Or maybe it's waiting, just like ours was. Tom stared at the screen. He didn't know why, but something inside told him this was bigger than a message. Ilari didn't just want people to remember her world. She wanted someone to defend theirs. Later that evening, the crew gathered in the hidden chamber below the station. The ancient machines now pulsed with energy, casting soft light across the walls. Everyone sat quietly, listening to a new holographic message. Ilari stood once more. Her hands folded calmly. Our memory remains, she said, her voice soft. But now our knowledge must live again. You have reconnected the heart of the system. The next step is yours. Long ago, we created a plaza vault of wisdom, tools, and maps. It waits beneath this station, hidden even from your builders. We trusted the stars to send someone worthy. You have come. The hologram ended. Everyone was silent. Tom looked at the others. There's more underneath us.
Marco, one of...
The engineers raised an eyebrow. But we're already in the deepest part of the station. Mia checked her scanner. No, there's one more level. A layer beneath this chamber fully sealed. No human has ever gone there. Hari, quiet. Until now, stepped forward. Then we should be the first. It took hours to find a path. The scanner picked up a small hatch hidden under one of the floor panels. It was old, made from strange black metal, and didn't open with any human key. But when Tom placed his hand on it, the metal glowed and shifted open. A narrow shaft led down into darkness. I'll go first, Tom said. Using ropes and lights, they descended slowly. At the bottom, they reached a round chamber, smoother and cleaner than the rooms above. The walls glowed softly on their own. In the center stood a tall, glowing column. As the others stepped in behind him, the column reacted. It opened with a soft hum, revealing shelves filled with crystal-like tablets, floating orbs, and holographic scrolls. Mia gasped. This is it. The vault. Tom touched one of the tablets. A projection filled the air showing blueprints, energy systems, navigation maps, strange ships shaped like wings of light. This is knowledge far beyond what we have, Mia said. It's like a library from another age. One of the orbs floated toward Tom and stopped in front of his chest. He held out his hand, and the orb gently touched his palm. His mind filled with images and ideas, advanced engines, star routes, and a symbol that meant protection. He stumbled. Back. Heart racing. What did you see? Lena asked. Instructions, Tom said. For something big. A way to build. A defense. Everyone looked at each other. Hari broke the silence. She didn't just want to be remembered. She wanted us to be ready. This isn't just about history. It's about saving the future. Next day, Mia decrypted more of the vault's contents. She found notes about a large device, something called the Sky Shield. Ilari's people used it to protect their world once. It could create a field strong enough to cover an entire planet, but they had only managed to finish one, and it had failed during the final attack. What if we build it again? Tom asked. With our tools? Mia said. It could take years. Maybe longer. Tom looked at the cubes. But they gave us this for a reason. Maybe the danger isn't coming yet. Maybe this is the time we've been given to prepare. Everyone in the room nodded slowly. We start tomorrow, Mia said that night. Tom returned to his room, exhausted but full of purpose. He sat on his bed looking at the ceiling. Then he saw it. The golden symbol had returned to his wall. As he stood, the room changed again. He saw Ilari once more, but this time she stood in front of a star field, smiling softly. The dark shape still moved far in the background, but her face wasn't afraid anymore. She held her hand over her heart. Again, and nodded once. Then the vision faded. Tom smiled back. He wasn't alone anymore. The next morning, the station was quiet, but not in the usual way. Something in the air had changed. The crew members who helped Tom and Mia now moved with a sense of purpose. They were no longer just workers fixing pipes or cleaning panels. They were keepers of a secret. protectors of an ancient warning. Tom stood inside the vault chamber again, watching the soft lights move across the walls. The glowing orbs floated slowly, each one holding memories, instructions, and lost knowledge. Every item in this hidden room had been waiting for someone to come. Now that they had found it, there was no turning back. Mia walked over with a small, clear tablet. I've finished the first translation. It's the Sky Shield activation process. Can't build the whole thing yet, but there's a test signal, a kind of beacon. If we activate it, the network will know we've accepted the mission. Tom nodded. And maybe we'll hear from others, maybe, she said, or maybe more warnings will come. They gathered the Timiahari, Lena, Marco, and 2 others who had been quietly helping. Together, they stood around the vaults. Main column. The air felt heavy, like the moment before a storm. Tom looked at them. We don't know what happens next. We know the message is real. Ilari's people trusted us with it. If we do nothing, we'll never know what could have been saved. Mia touched the panel and looked at Tom. You ready? He took a deep breath. Let's do it. The Sky Shield beacon was small, just a hand-sized crystal platform with 3 blue lines glowing across it. Mia placed it on the center panel and began the sequence. The lights blinked slowly, then faster. The chamber, HUMMED. Suddenly, the floor vibrated. The walls lit up in patterns. The old alien systems, sleeping for thousands of years, were awakening. Together, above the station, invisible to human eyes, a pulse of energy shot through the stars. It wasn't loud, wasn't violent, but it traveled fair, a signal that the network was alive again. Tom stared at the glowing ceiling, his heart pounding. It's done, Mia whispered. But just as she said it, the room changed. A soft wind moved through the chamber, not natural, but part of something bigger. Then, a new light appeared in the center of the vault. It was Ilari. Her image was brighter now, clearer than ever before. She looked older, wiser, and full of emotion. You have answered, she said, and the stars have listened. Shh. Everyone stood silently as she continued. The Sky Shield is only one part. There are others out there, humans and non-humans, who will soon hear your signal. Some will help, some will not believe. But now the door is open. The room shifted again, and her hologram showed more images. Stations like theirs, towers, buried under moons, satellites floating alone in dark corners of space. Some were glowing, some were broken. Long ago, we believed we could stop the darkness, Ilari said. We were wrong, but we learned, and we shared. You are not alone. Now, her eyes met Tom's once more. Your courage has given us hope. Then she faded, back in the control room. The team watched as the station's sensors picked up a new reading. It's coming from outside the system, Lena said, pointing at the screen. It's the same signal pattern, but from far away. Tom leaned closer. Another station? Mia nodded. Yes, another Sky Shield point has answered us. Everyone stared in silence. The network was real. It had never truly died. It had only been asleep. Now it was waking up. Over the next 2 days, more signals began to appear. Some were faint, some stronger. They came from distant corners of the galaxy. The crew watched each one arrive with quiet amazement. Tom sat alone near the viewing window one night. The stars outside looked the same as always, but he now saw them differently. Behind each one could be a forgotten story, a lost world, a message waiting for someone to listen. He closed his eyes for a moment. Then he saw her again, Ilaris, standing in the field of stars, her eyes full of calm. She didn't speak this time. She only placed her hand over her heart and smiled. Tom understood. The fight hadn't started yet, but the warning had been sent, and for now, that was enough. Back in the vault, Mia discovered something new, a communication key. It wasn't a normal device. It was shaped like a small disc with a glowing star in the middle. It pulsed with energy. This connects to the others, she explained. It's a way to share our progress with the network, a kind of update system. Tom took it carefully. Can we send a message? Mia nodded. Yes, but it has to be simple. Their language is deep, emotional. It's not about words, it's about meaning. Tom held the disc and closed his eyes. He didn't think of data or facts. He thought of Illyria's voice. He thought of her people, the glowing cities, the lost world. He thought of hope. When he opened his eyes, the disc glowed bright. Mia smiled. That's it, he said. Enough. That night, as the station rested in silence, a single pulse of blue light rose from the deep vault and moved out into the stars. Far away, in places no human had ever reached, other lights answered. The stars were waking up, and so was the truth. Weeks passed, the space station continued, its usual work supplies were delivered. Ships came and went, and people carried on with their duties. But below the surface, in the secret vault, a quiet team was working on something far more important. Tom. Mia and the others had now become guardians of the Sky Shield system. The knowledge left behind by Illyria's people was growing. More cubes were being found in nearby places. Messages from other stations were slowly coming in, some in strange languages, some in sound, and some only as lights. But they all meant one thing. We heard you. Tom sat at the edge of the hidden platform one morning, looking out at a small window near the floor. From there, he could see the distant stars. He still remembered the moment the girl had blocked his path. She didn't say a word, but now he understood everything she had meant to say. She had shown him her pain, her warning, and most of all, her hope, and that hope had grown. Mia entered the chamber carrying a datapad. Her face looked excited. I think we found something, she said. Tom stood. What is it? There's a final piece, she said. It's one more signal. It's not far in a moon, just one jump from here. It's older than anything else we've seen. I think it may be the place where Ellery's people made their last stand. Tom's heart beat faster. Do we have permission to go? Mia smiled. We're not asking this time. 2 days later, Tom, Mia, and Lena arrived on the moon. It was cold and empty, covered in gray dust. The sun was far away, and the sky looked dim. But deep underground, inside a sealed cave, they found what they were looking for. A room filled with crystal seats, broken machines, and a giant hollow sphere standing in the center. Inside the sphere was a cube, but this one was different. It glowed gold, not blue. Mia scanned it. It's a memory vault. Odd. Maybe the last one? Tom walked forward slowly. Let's see what Illyria wanted us to know. He placed his hand on the cube. It opened without sound. A beam of soft gold light rose into the air, and Illyria appeared again. This time her form was gentle, almost like a dream. My name is Illyria, she said once more. This is my final message. Everyone listened in silence. We were not strong enough to stop the shadow, she said, but we were strong enough to remember. We did not bury our past. We sent it forward so you would know, so you would learn, so you would be better. The images showed the fall of her world, but also the beauty of it. Families, gardens, libraries, and children playing under a blue sun. Then it showed her standing in a room, this very room placing the final cube on its stand. You who find this, you're the answer we prayed for, Ellery said. You are the future we could never reach. And if you are ready, then so is the sky. Her eyes looked peaceful now. Protect your world, she said. Protect your stars. Be the light that we could not be. The light faded. The room was silent. Tom stood for a long time without speaking. Then he looked at Mia and Lena. She didn't just want us to warn others. She wanted us to be ready. Mia nodded. The shield system, the messages, it was all part of one plan. A plan not to fight, but to prepare. Lena walked around the golden cube slowly. It's strange, she said. We never saw her people in real life, never heard their voices, but I feel like I knew them. Tom smiled. Maybe that's what she wanted. Back at the station, the team returned with the golden cube. They placed it inside the central chamber, linking it to the others. The moment it connected, a new signal was created, a clear and powerful one. Mia watched the system light up. It's a guide, she said. It shows how to fully activate the Sky Shield. not just as a message but as a real defense. Tom looked at the star maps, and it also shows where the darkness is now. Everyone fell silent. A slow-moving shape, dark, wide and silent, was traveling through the galaxy. It wasn't close yet, but it was moving. Tom pointed at the chart. "We still have time," Lena added, "and now we're not alone." Over the following months, stations from other corners of space began to reply. Some were human-run, others were alien-built. But they had all received the message. Tom's team began training others, building new signal cores, and sharing what they had learned from Alari's vault. Her people had fallen, but their wisdom had survived, and now was part of something greater. One evening, Tom sat again by the small window, looking out into the stars. He thought about how it had all begun. A girl. A silent hallway. A hand over her heart. She had blocked his path not to stop him, but to show him another way. A better way. He smiled. And just then, the wall in front of him shimmered softly. Ilari appeared one final time. No words, just a calm, kind look. She placed her hand over her heart and bowed her head. Tom stood and did the same. And in that quiet moment between stars, he knew they had heard her. They had answered, and now they were ready. The end.